Welcome to Oddball. I'm Charlotte Wilder. That, as always, is Amin Elhassan. Oddball is presented by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you will hear more about DraftKings Pick 6 and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Oh, yeah.
So, Amin, you and I were at the Celtics game. Game 2. The Celtics won 105-98. The Celtics are now up 2-0. The series heads to Dallas. I'm feeling good. I wasn't as nervous as I was for game 1, I'll be honest.
You mean before the game started?
No, during the game.
Okay.
Okay.
We don't need to relitigate. Sure.
Okay. Well, regardless, the game started before the game because Boston fans were out in full force, including one kid who had the guts to take a picture with Luka and then insult him, which felt like the most Boston thing possible. Let's take a look.
Thank you.
Yo, Luka.
Let's go Celtics. Luka. Celtics. 0 points.
I mean, I think it's the kid's TikToker haircut for me that really drives this home.
I gotta tell you, man. Like, it's just, someone in the production crew asked, like, hey, man, like, at what point is it okay to tell a kid that needs a whooping, right? And I said, a whooping? That kid's dad is proud as hell of him. I was like, yeah, I taught you well, son. This is such Boston energy. And, it's funny because we saw Mike Schur, the creator of Parks and Rec and The Good Place and so many more amazing TV shows. We saw him at the game on Sunday night, and he was there with his son, and he said, my son is born and raised in LA, so he really knows nothing of like this Boston lifestyle and culture. So we're walking to the arena, we got our Celtics gear on. It says a bus pulls up and says, you guys going to the Garden? And he says, yeah. So hop on in. They get on the bus. Bus is full of these crazy Celtics fans, and they're blasting AC/DC. And then, like, at the next crosswalk, there's a guy in a Luka jersey crossing the street, and the bus driver guns the engine and almost hits the dude on purpose, and then proceeds to berate him, and everybody else is berating him, and the poor guy's like, what the hell is going on, man? I'm just crossing at the crosswalk. And Mike turns to his son and says, I just gave you the full Boston experience in less than 60 seconds.
Yeah, that about sums it up. When you say that kid brought real Boston energy, I'm like, so just being an asshole? I mean, look, I'm from here. I identify with that, but I have tried to, I'm like a reformed asshole, maybe. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I think that also we have to say that they were blasting Shipping Up to Boston. Just feels like
yes.
the AC/DC and the Shipping Up to Boston.
I apologize. I know it's contractually obligated for the city of Boston to shoehorn that goddamn song every place they can, and including Mike Schur's bus ride. But that wasn't all. There was so much more happening before the game even tipped off, Charlotte. We know after game 1, Jason Kidd tried to drive a wedge through the Celtics locker room with this.
Well, Jalen's the best player, so just looking at what he does defensively, he picked up Luka full court. He got to the free throw line. He did everything, and that's what your best player does.
Not to be outdone, the Celtics did not take the bait. This is what Tatum had to say about Coach Kidd.
People try to drive a wedge in between us, and I guess it's a smart thing to do or try to do. It's not our first time at the rodeo.
And Jaylen Brown had this to say.
I don't have no reaction.
So, I mean, this is fascinating to me because I feel like everybody keeps trying to drive a wedge, obviously, between Tatum and Brown. And you said on a show last week or the week earlier, you were like, we would know. Like, if there was something that happened, this is the gossipiest league in the world. Like, we would know. There's nothing there. And I think that I keep saying this. I feel like this Celtics team has been preparing all season to be in the finals. They have been media training. They have been emotionally training. They have been getting ready not to be rattled. And I genuinely, when I'm in those press conferences afterwards and I'm hearing what they're saying, and Drew Holiday came up, and he had sort of, a reporter caught him off guard, was saying Jason Kidd said that Jaylen Brown is the best player, and he thought he was just praising Jaylen Brown. He was like, yeah, he's playing great. The media made it a whole thing, and he came in, and the first thing he said was, I don't prefer either Jaylen or Jason. They are great. You keep trying to do this. And I actually believe that this Celtics team is a team, and they're all earnest in the same way, where it's like crack a joke every once in a while, but they're all like earnest and locked in, seem genuinely emotionally mature, I guess. Our producers are saying that they actually have more Jaylen Brown sound about being mature. Let's see what this is.
I don't have a family, single, so I've been binge watching Harry Potter.
Which Harry Potter character do you most identify with?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a great question. I'm a huge fan of Dumbledore. Maybe Hermione.
Okay.
Hermione, I think I resonate with her too.
I can go get my kids to translate all that for me.
I could do it, but you know what? Let's move on. I mean,
you're like my unofficial fourth child, Charlotte. Fourth child, Charlotte. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. Look, I will say, to each his own. He can love Harry Potter if he wants, but
are you not loving Harry? I just don't know it. That's
no. It's thing. Just like it's.
My kids love it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's boring. I fell asleep. I tried. I fell asleep. I didn't read the books. I was growing up when the books came out.
It's corny. I think it's corny. And I think that the Celtics are a little corny, and I love them with my whole heart.
There you go. I'm glad that finally pried that out of you. All right. So there was a game that was played on Sunday, and I got to say, Charlotte, I walked away thinking to myself, if I were Dallas, walking into the series, my big concern would have been, how am I going to defend this greatest offense of all time? And the thing that I would have hung my hat on was like, we're not going to have a problem with is us getting our points up. And in a weird kind of reality switching sides, Dallas actually defended Boston incredibly well through 2 games. I thought the job they did in game 2 in particular was remarkable up until the end when they kind of ran out of gas and Boston started being an aggressor. But then the other side of the ball, offensively, we're a long way away from this is the greatest offensive backcourt of all time, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. It feels like making those declarative statements, like Anthony Edwards is the next Michael Jordan, the most talented backcourt of all time. Anytime someone says a superlative like that, it then turns out not to be true. So maybe the Celtics having people just be like, Tatum and Brown hate each other, maybe that's actually good for them. I think, when you talk about the way that the game 2 went, I was asking you when we were sitting there, I was like, what adjustments Jason Kidd didn't seem to make many adjustments at all from game 1 to 2. And it was like, what can they do now? Because I understand this is our style of play. One game didn't work. That means we won't change it completely for game 2. Yeah. At this point, it feels like it's not working. What can they do?
So this is the thing, right? Like the Mavericks offense is built to basically force a defense to react with more than one defender to either Luka or Kyrie. They get past their first man, the second man comes over. Now you have a lob pass that's open. They're worried about the lob pass. Now this corner 3 is open. They close out their corner 3, and now we've got ball moving around, and that's what they did to Minnesota in essence, right? The problem is the Celtics' point of impact defenders, meaning the first guy who's on the ball, are so good that the help isn't coming. The Mavericks aren't putting the Celtics into defensive rotations, so all of those avenues are suffocated and choked off. And without that, like you're not going to see that offense get going. Now, Jason Kidd, Kyrie Irving, and Luka Doncic are all saying, hey, we miss shots that we normally make. Luka also said, hey, I missed free throws. I had too many turnovers. This is all on me. But Coach Kidd and Kyrie both said, no, it's not. This is a team effort. But also, there's some shots that we typically make that we didn't make. Right. And their belief is that if Kyrie and Luka make those shots, then the defense has to react. They will not continue to defend the way they did. So they're saying, in essence, the greatest adjustment is the one that you don't make, right? because you basically have to stick with what's been successful for you all year long. The problem I have is now that they're down 2-0, you have zero margin for error. This is, in essence, if you lose one more game, regardless of whether it's game 3 or game 4, you've entered into historic territory, meaning you're down 3-1, it's only happened one time in finals history, right?
Yep.
You're down 3-0, it's never happened in playoff history. So now you could say they held serve, all we got to do is hold our serve, but the pressure is certainly on Dallas to hold serve.
Yeah, I think, too, that when we look at the adjustments, the Mavs would say that the only adjustment they need to make is to be better or to be faster or is to get by the defenders the way that Tatum and Brown were in that fourth quarter. I agree with you. At this point, it's sort of a chess match. It's like, are you going to keep with the strategy that has been losing? But at the same time, if that's your identity, that's your identity. So I'm fascinated to see what happens in game 3. I will say that game 2, I think the Boston crowd was louder. The TD Garden flashed this before the game. It was the Jumbotron showing the Kyrie quote, I thought it was going to be a little louder in here. Did that do anything?
Yeah, it's funny because, first of all, it's literally funny because they were flashing quotes from Porzingis, from Brown, from Tatum, from Holiday, and then they sneak in this Kyrie one in the middle of it. So I thought that was very well done by the game ops. I'll be honest with you, I didn't think it was louder because of what Kyrie said or they were coming out to show Kyrie wrong. That was louder because it was a close game. Game 1 was a blowout, so it was incredible. I still think the beginning of game 1 is the loudest that building has been this entire playoffs for the games that I've been to.
Yeah.
I thought game 2 they were loud for sure, but I didn't get the sense that they were any louder because of Kyrie, and specifically when Kyrie had the ball, when they were chanting Kyrie sucks. It wasn't louder and it wasn't more plentiful than it was in game 1.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. The energy of the game is what made it feel more electric. I do think, though, that game 2 can sometimes feel more real to fans. I think sometimes game 1, you get there and you're sort of like, whoa, wait, we're in the finals. Oh my God. In game 2, it's like, a little bit more what to expect. We have to talk about Luka, though. He looked hurt. He looked hurt after the game, and there have been a lot of jokes about what Luka looked like on the internet. There was, he looks like, we'll have his walk up here in a second, but he looks like he's, someone said like he just ate sushi from AutoZone. Wow. I saw someone say like he looks like he's the 34-year-old and the last of his friends is getting married and he just threw out his back again at the bachelor party. I think he looks bummed. And jokes aside, I think there's a lot going on here because he was downgraded from probable to questionable before game 2. And it made me think, like, is this so that he wants people to know he's hurt so that he can be like, look how well I'm doing anyway? Is this gamesmanship from Jason Kidd? Like, we obviously know he's going to play. It's the finals. When else would you risk getting hurt more? The finals. Yeah. And so what does that downgrade do? And what's happening with his actual injuries?
Yeah, I don't know. Look, obviously we work here at DraftKings, and gambling is now a part of the fabric of our game. And part of that is the transparency. The transparency whenever anyone is dealing with something, so that the gambling houses can have ample opportunity to adjust their lines and adjust their prop bets and everything to properly reflect all the information. So I think there's a part of it that's that. They're indicating to us, this guy isn't 100%. We're trying to be transparent to our partners in the gambling world, right?
Yeah.
He is dealing with a bruised sternum or something in his chest. They asked him about it. He talked about it in the post-game press conference, said, I don't know if I got it taking a charge or diving for a loose ball. He also, we know he's dealing with that knee issue that he's been dealing with all playoffs long. So there's a part of this is transparency. There's a part of this, like you said, is like, hey guys, I'm doing this on one leg with a hole in my chest, kind of one of those things. And maybe there is a part of it that's, look, can we make the Celtics kind of have to worry about something or lull them into a false sense of security? Not that stuff necessarily works, but you give it a whirl anyway. Yeah.
Well, his teammate Kyrie didn't have a good game again, as we talked about. He was 16 points. And I believe that you said that Kyrie was going to go off for 60 in game 2.
I don't remember it like that. I think I said 16. Maybe you didn't hear me properly.
I'm pretty
The acoustics in that studio are weird over there up in Boston. It's lovely and delightful as it is, but get distracted by the whole convenience store thing and all the free drinks and everything. If you go back and check the tape, you'll hear me say 16.
Yeah, I think we'll hear you say 60.
Maybe I was slurring a little. I don't know. I had a lot to drink last week.
Oh, yeah, you did. Kyrie is now 0-12 against the Celtics since he scuffed the lucky the center court. Maybe this is like some curse of the Irish. There's luck of the Irish. Is there curse of the Irish?
Well,
the last time he beat the Celtics was in Game 5 of Round 1 in 2021 with Brooklyn.
Yeah, you know what's funny is they asked him about, one of the momentum turning points was Peyton Pritchard's buzzer beater to end the third quarter. Mm-hmm. And Kyrie laughed and said, that's just Boston. So the weird things like that happen here in Boston. I thought that was a pretty fun quote.
That is great. I didn't hear that.
He was good, man. Look, man, like the post-game pressers for me watching Dallas has been delightful because it's three different flavors. Luka comes in, he's ornery. He's pissed all the time. Short answers, really sarcastic, like, do you think I'm going to say I'm not confident? Stuff like that, right? Kyrie comes in, and he's just got a big smile on his face, and he's kind of got an aw shucks thing, and I don't know if it's genuine or not, but I'm enjoying it. And then Jason Kidd comes in, and he just kind of speaks in this really slow whisper, hey, our guys, we believe in our guys, and Luka's a leader. And I said, Coach Kidd, have a Red Bull or something, man. Like, how do they hear him on the court when he talks like that all the time?
Wake up, Coach. It's the finals.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, the Celtics shot just over 25% from three, and Josh Hart post-game, he was like, this is the one that Dallas needed because I'm assuming he means that this is one they could have won because their three-point shooting was so bad from the Celtics. This feels like a huge mistake from Dallas. This feels like if they lose the finals, this is a place to point to.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a mistake. It's basketball. Like the other guys are playing basketball too. In the words of Charles Barkley, they're trying to win too. But yeah, like this was you did everything you set out to accomplish defensively. All you need to do is make shots. And I'm not looking at Kyrie and Luka. I'm looking at like the other guys, the PJ Washingtons, the Jalen Hardys, like the Dante Exums. All those guys, they needed somebody to be able to, Derek Jones Jr., catch and make three-pointers to give some relief to their two stars, and they just didn't get that happening. There's no margin for error. 31-5, as we said. However, two of those have happened fairly recently. Once it was 2016 with the Cavs overcome the Warriors. They were down 2-0, and obviously they won in 7. And the other one was 2021, one that lives with me forever, Charlotte, because that's the one where the Suns won the first two games, looking a lot like the Celtics, dominant, in control. You had Giannis was injured, not 100%. You had a coach, Mike Budenholzer, who says, I don't make adjustments. We play our way. They can't beat us. And I said, This series is over. The Bucks aren't going to win another game. And, of course, the Suns didn't win another game, and the Bucks won 4 in a row, which is why we play these games, ladies and gentlemen. But
all right, well, now
Dallas needs no mistakes.
Sufficiently nervous. Thank you so much. And when we come back, Danny Hurley says no to $70 million from the Lakers. Welcome back to Oddball. Amin, it is time for our contractually obligated segment, which is the subsection of the LeBron clause, which is we have to talk about the Lakers, which is we have to talk about the Lakers head coach search, which is still incomplete because Danny Hurley, it was reported, turned down a 6-year, $70 million offer, which, not to brag, I said I could definitely see him doing. Does everybody have a number? Danny Hurley is one guy who, if you told me, like, no, Danny Hurley doesn't have a number and he wants to keep coaching at UConn forever, I would be like, also, I could see that.
I could see him doing it, too, for a variety of other reasons. I think it's incredibly interesting. Charlotte, I used to host a show called Basketball Illuminati, and our slogan was keep your third eye open, right? And the idea that this is the world of basketball. There is a surface world where everyone just kind of takes everything. Oh, they might hire him. Oh, I guess they didn't do it. And then there's a sub-level where things are happening that are dictating what's happening before your eyes, and it could happen right before your eyes and you don't know it. And so when it comes to this story, I just found it very circumstantially interesting that we would get a news report saying that JJ Redick looks like he's going to be the next head coach of the Lakers, and then instantly we get an opposite news report that refutes that one from a rival reporter, and it said in very strong terms that this is about to happen. It's going to be Danny Hurley. And just fascinated by how many, constituents are served by that story coming out, right? If you're JJ Redick, it's nice not to have people ask me about the Laker job while I'm trying to focus on the finals. If you're Danny Hurley, it's nice to have something I can go back to my current employer and say, look, I love it here. My wife loves it here, but $70 million. And if you're the rival reporter, it's nice to, throw a little salt on your big rival's story. But alas, we wake up today, Danny Hurley's going back to Connecticut. And so I guess we're back to square one with who is going to be the Lakers head coach.
Yes, I did see that JJ Redick now, it is reported, may be taking his first formal interview with the Lakers, which is, we're a little deeper into the finals, so we'll see. We also have to talk about, this is just our contractually obligated B block, because we have to talk about Caitlin Clark, too.
Yes. Yep.
She was left off of Team USA and the Olympic team. She confirmed on Sunday after a call from USA Basketball. And according to Fever coach Christy Sides, her reaction was, "Hey, coach, they woke a monster?" What?
Shut up.
Okay, here's the thing. A lot of people, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second. A lot of people are like, it is so stupid not to include Caitlin Clark because of the attention it would bring to Olympic women's basketball, which what did you point out about that?
Well, I just think it's interesting that people can throw out generic statements that don't necessarily have any validity to it, right? Like to say, oh, this could have brought so much attention to women's Olympic basketball. I said, what Olympic sport do we not give attention to? Because I see every 4 years people giving a shit about rowing and fencing and archery and shit like that. Hell, you want to talk about people getting excited about anything that has Team USA on it? How many people are talking about cricket, USA versus Pakistan in the last couple of days? Nobody gives a shit about that sport, but once it becomes to a national team level, this country gives attention. So this idea that women's basketball, Olympic women's basketball, doesn't get enough shine or doesn't get any shine, it's preposterous.
Right, and the idea that in order for it to get shine, you need to put Caitlin Clark, this recent addition to the WNBA world, to the basketball world. Rebecca Lobo spoke about this, and she was like, it takes 3 years for the Olympic team to be put together. And as we've seen, a lot of the women on this team have played together before in the Olympics or in the FIBA World Cup. And who do people, would you ever say, we should kick off LeBron because he's old and put, Chet Holmgren on the team? No. Whose spot would Caitlin take? Diana Taurasi, 5-time gold medalist? Bringing eyeballs to something should not be the reason that you are given that thing. We live in a society now where if you have followers, if you have engagement, people see that as you are deserving of the thing that you want. It's like record labels that won't sign musicians who have fewer than 50,000 followers, even if they are far less talented than someone who has no followers, but who could be this big thing. Look, Caitlin Clark is a great basketball player. She will be a great basketball player. There is time. Sports does not have to follow that influencer model and should not, I would argue. And I think everybody's brain has been warped by this idea that if people pay attention to you, you automatically deserve every platform in which to wield that attention.
Charlotte, there's no basketball reason for it. That's why they got to go to influencers and all that stuff, because there is no basketball reason to have her on the team. And that's the reality is it's just look, man, she's not ready. She might be ready one day, but she's not ready today.
Also, you woke a monster?
I thought the 3-11 start would have woke the monster, but I guess not. This is what gets it done. Shut up. Play ball. Go be
Just
good. Don't
have
turn
a
it
little
over 9
respect
times in a
for
game.
the process. Come on.
No.
Anyway, that's all we've got for Oddball. We will talk to you, as always, tomorrow. Unless it's Monday, Saturday, or Sunday. Wait.
What?